Hi everyone, welcome back to the garden. Today's video is very simple. What would be the number one plant that I would recommend if you're either starting a full-on tropical style garden this year, maybe planting up an exotic themed border, or perhaps replacing some of the plants you've lost this winter with something more reliable. So that number one recommended plant, personally I think it would have to look good all year long. It would have to be a plant that's hardy, that's very tolerant of our wet, cold winters here in the UK, particularly the one that we're just having now, and also a plant that doesn't require a huge amount of care in summer. It would have to be a plant that grows relatively quickly without needing a lot of fuss, special care, looking after, a plant that doesn't have issues with pests. And I think I've got just the one for you. I have already done several videos about the plant in question, but as we head into a brand new garden year, I thought that it definitely deserves another mention. More people should be growing this. Now, it won't surprise a lot of my regular subscribers to hear that the plant is in fact a hardy palm. I think when you first get into tropical style gardening, it's easy to think of palms as very problematic plants that need wrapping up every winter, loads of special care, exotic looking yes, but suitable for the UK, probably not. The reality couldn't be any further from that. These palms here, Trachycarpus, growing climates are actually very similar to the UK. They're very tolerant of our cold, wet winters, and they also grow well in our summers too. So the perfect plant to start your exotic garden. But the one that I'm going to talk about, it isn't a fortunei like these here. This is a palm with even more class. In my opinion, it looks even more beautiful and it's tolerant of even more winds. So let's go and have a look at it. There's a lot of different Trachycarpus forms that we can grow here in the UK, and I'm lucky enough to grow quite a few of them here in my garden. I will do a video later this year going through the different varieties that I grow and the reasons why I've chosen them. But the one I want to talk about today, it really is a piece of living sculpture. I think Trachycarpus are an essential plant for any UK exotic garden. They look great in summer when their dark green leaves contrast perfectly with the other big leaf tropicals that we can grow here. They look fantastic on a crisp winter morning, they look beautiful in frost, but they also look great at night, lit up with brightly coloured lights. They really are magnificent looking plants. But the one that I want to focus in on today is none other than the Waggy, Trachycarpus wagnerianus. It really is the perfect plant to begin your UK exotic garden with. So why the Waggy then? Well, for a start, they're very easy, adaptable plants to grow. They're tolerant of a wide range of different garden conditions, from sunnier gardens with freer draining soil to damper, shadier gardens. They grow equally well. And when it comes to winter hardiness, you shouldn't need to worry about wrapping these unless you live in the very coldest parts of the country in the most extreme cold winter spells. So like this past spell, I've done nothing to this, it looks fantastic. So they're a very easy plant to grow in winter, and when it comes to summer, as long as you don't let them completely dry out, and while they're small, give them a little bit of water to help them through the really dry spells in summer, they don't need anything else at all. Pest issues aren't a problem with this plant, it just looks fantastic and simply delivers. But what makes it so much better than Trachycarpus fortunei? Well, I wouldn't say better necessarily, but for most gardens, I think the Waggy is a better fit. It's a more compact plant, which means if you've got a smaller garden, you can definitely fit more of these in, because more plants is always better. Perhaps you're looking at growing a group of them, these look fantastic. And the other thing is, the leaves are actually a lot stiffer. So you can see here, the leaves are actually like a fan. They're definitely a lot stiffer than fortunei, which has a more relaxed sort of look to the plant, and that means they're more tolerant of windy conditions. Now, if you live in a full-on coastal area, I'd potentially go down the Chamaerops route. Chamaerops humilis is definitely a lot more wind tolerant than even this. But for most places in the UK, there's always a slow wind there in the background, potentially a lot more than a slow wind in some areas. This is a better plant than Trachycarpus fortunei. The leaves are a lot less likely to look browned, a lot less likely to snap off. I don't know about you, but I think that a plant that looks as pristine as this through all our UK seasons is a very special plant indeed. A few points then if you're new to growing palms. Waggies are a single trunk plant. They're not a bushy plant, they just grow upwards and upwards. You can prune off the dead leaves and the finished flowers to give the whole plant a neater appearance, but wait until they're brown before you do so. And when it comes to actually pruning the plant itself, you can't chop that growing point. So as long as you've got the vertical space for this plant to grow, it's a plant that will look great in your garden for many, many years. And when it comes to looking after them, like I said, they're very, very easy. But I'll put links in the description below to videos that I've done on feeding this plant, when you should give it extra water, and what the Waggy looks like compared to the fortunei. That was taken on a trip to Chatsworth House. Two great examples there right next to each other, and you can really see how they differ. The past year then has really shown us that if you want to create a tropical effect in your UK garden without a lot of maintenance, without lots of winter worries, and without a huge amount of watering, then the tough, adaptable, hardy exotics are really the way to go. And you can't go far wrong starting with a Waggy. If you want to add one to your garden, this isn't a sponsored video, but I've always had great palms from Hardy Palms. Nigel always has top quality plants, and I think the prices are very fair too. But if you want to check out Vic Silver's new website, thepalmgrower.com, he grows a load of Waggies from seed himself. He's got some great smaller plants in. So if you're shopping around on a budget, if you want to start small, then a Waggy is a great choice because they look fantastic at all stages in development. And like a lot of Trachycarpus, I really recommend starting off with smaller plants because they settle in faster. So really, if you're looking to start a tropical style garden this year, you can't go far wrong with one of these. Check out my other videos for loads more Trachycarpus content, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching as always. I'll see you later.